Ladies and gentlemen of the old world, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between Nurgle and Norsca here on the Glade of the Everqueen. It's going to be Tamarcon and a tow dragon separately, so he's not going to be bringing his pet tow dragon. He wanted to let him chill out, so he brought his other tow dragon homie here. We're going to be getting the Plague Bearers and Nurglings, and that's pretty much it. Fairly elite army. Plague Bearers are not super cheap, and Plague Bearers, in my experience, do very well against Marauders and Bearmen. They wreck Bearmen. But I don't know how they're going to do against Berserkers. We're going to have to see how that goes. Now, Berserkers, I think, are a little bit more expensive, but the Plague Bearer does do magic damage, which is very nice against Norsca in general. So we do have Tamarcon, and we have the Sorcerer with Rancid and Spirit Leech. Tow Dragon, you know, it occurred to me as I was loading into the game, he's a little bit risky considering the fact that Ettins now are going to be more prevalent because, you know, Giants have always been very good against, you know, these type of anti-infantry monsters, but the Toady still hits hard enough to maybe fight against the Ettin. We'll have to see. All right, guys, so battle is on. We got Berserkers, we got Javelins, we have Sail the Faithless with Pendulum, Enfeebling Foe, and Shalkane's Teeth, which just got nerfed. This is playing in the post-patch. We do have the Trouser Snake, the Dreadmaw, which, you know, honestly not terrible, popping up on, you know, elite infantry positions if the Nurgle player decides to go for, like, Chosen or something, popping up a Dreadmaw on them and doing some nice damage, and then using the Deep Tunneling for another AoE damage could actually be a pretty dank play. I don't hate that. All right, guys, so battle is on. We'll do a little bit of fast forwarding here. You can see the Trouser Snake is following us, and first things first, I call on the Angels of Decay, and the Plague Bearers are now going to be clashing, and Tamarcon going to be charging in the front as well. So Plague Bearers versus Berserkers. Tamarcon is going to be here as well, one of my favorite characters. Wish I had his tabletop. It's so freaking cool. And big cleaving attack there. Actually looked like that was kind of decent against infantry. And Angels of Decay going to be going after the Cursed Ettin, and the Tow Dragon is going to be surging forth as well. I figured it would be okay to send him in, considering I have the Angels of Decay nearby supporting. So Toady's going to be getting in, some nice attack animations, and ramming away. But beautiful Shalkane's Teeth. So, you know, a lot of people are using that ability as a sniping ability, but Taco here with a beautiful play, shooting it down the side and getting some really, really good value there. Also, a Pendulum going to be activated on my units as well. So truly some really brutal spellcasting from Sail the Faithless. But Cursed Ettin getting a little bit of a beatdown from Tamarcon, but so too is my Tow Dragon from my opponent's Javelin. So the two Marauder Hunter Javelins getting some nasty work in there, while Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle is going to come in and help. But Tamarcon is an anti-large fighter and is very good at it. And you can see we are getting the Ettin relatively low while the Tow Dragon retreats. And at this point, I'm like, let's send the Tow Dragon to the backside. And I noticed I was losing. So the Berserkers, that answers the question. The Berserkers are defeating the Plague Bearers. And in response, I call on Chaos Knights with Lances, because Chaos Knights are actually good in this matchup, and they're very good against Norsca infantry. Like, all of them, they're going to be good. All right, Breath Attack from Toady. He gets a nice little Suffocating Blast, which is going to be hitting all of them, and lowers the Vigor, as well as the reload skill on the attack there. So Tow Dragon feasting, and Angels of Decay getting the Cursed Ettin kind of low. Ettin going to be sitting at what value? About 400 right now, while Tamarcon himself is going to be sitting at about 400 as well. Right now, I do see a little something. The Angels are like, you know what, let's see if we can get Sail if he's not paying attention. Tow Dragon back here, a little bit surrounded by Norscan Ice Trolls and by the Doggies. It's such a cool looking beast. Oh, I love the Tow Dragon. It might be one of my favorite monsters in the game. I don't know in terms of its like overall strength, certainly not, but it's, you know, not bad either. So Chaos Knights in their element, charging into Marauder Bearmen, where they should be able to make relatively quick, not quick work, because Bearmen are very high HP, but they'll make work of them. This objective is going to be a save for us. In response, I think Taco is going to be calling in some Kurgan Horsemen and some Marauder Bearmen down there. And the Tow Dragon going to be getting a Fleshy Abundance while Tamarcon continues to fight this Cursed Ettin. Now, Ettins are basically just power crept Giants. They're superior to Giants in every way. Vanguard deployment, passive healing, faster. The only thing is they have slightly less weapon strength, but like by 50. It's ridiculous. Giants, I mean, you either need to cost increase Ettins or I don't think Ettins are like cost in like it's. I think Giants are just in a weird spot. I don't think you need to like nerf the Ettins or anything. I just think that Giants are just got power crept a little bit. All right, so Kurgan Horseman Vanguard didn't see this coming. I do charge at the last second, and the Chaos Knights surge forth to meet them, but the Kurgans with their great weapons. I mean, 48 charge bonus, 40 weapon strength. The Chaos Knight's actually taking a considerable amount of damage because I screwed up the charge order. I misclicked. So now they're going to turn and fight, and it's a little bit rough. They would have done a lot more damage by countercharging there, but we'll see if the Chaos Knights are going to be able to hold. Tamarcon in trouble as well, being hunted. I am down in value, but I do have a lot of healing, so I'm hoping that will kind of pull me back in the game. His two Pestigors are going to be on their way over there. Tamarcon is going to be fleeing, and we need to save his butt because he is in trouble. Tamarcon at 400 HP, going to be getting hammered timed by the trolls here. And on this objective, the Tow Dragon's going to come in and just give these Marauder Bearmen the business. They've lined up really juicy-like for him. And, oh, wow, look at that damage. Whoa, the Tow Dragon just trampled those guys. He wasn't even targeting the Bearmen. Oh, man, okay. Oh, I've never seen something quite like that. That trample animation from the Toe Dragon was really, really nasty. Chaos Knights able to fend off the Kurgans and continue their fight here as we call in Furies to counter those guys. And over here we get a bit of a messy fight, but the Angels of Decay did jump on those units and fend off the Trolls and buy some time for Tamarcon to escape with 124 HP. So now we're going to be able to heal up that bad boy. While on the point, we do see the Furies ripping up the Kurgan Horsemen, basically a hard counter. Kurgans, with the Great Opens, will get wrecked by Furies. Their melee stats are super, super low. They obviously rely on the charge bonus and their armor piercing, which is not going to be relevant against a flying unit. All right, down here, Pestigor's fighting, and the Toady is doing all right. You know, he's at 1,200 value. He's just living his best life, being a big, happy Toe Dragon as he continues cleaving through these bad boys. On the other side, Pestigor's fighting, and the Dreadmaw has not been up too much. He's got 32 value. He popped up once. And I can tell you from experience, as somebody who loves forgetting units and having tactical reserves, you know, kind of finding food in your beard later on, the Dreadmaw is a unit that's so easy to forget about. I don't know what it is, but I guess it's underground. You don't see it. You know, you don't really register it as much. You got to be really, really aware. But here, the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle and Tamarcon going to be surging forth. Meanwhile here, Angels of Decay fighting it out, Furies, and also the Chaos Knights with Lances doing good. Skinwolves are chewing them up, and the fact that I'm not able to break these Skinwolves is trapping my units in here, which is very rough. The Ettin's coming back in over, and the Toe Dragon going to be scooting back while I call in some reinforcements. So Pestigor, and Forsaken are on their way in, so we're going to be trying to grab that. Well, the Chaos Knights finally do break through the Wolves here, so the Skinwolves going to get broken. Cursed Ettin is lurking nearby. Toe Dragon just getting a nice throw up right there. Really good one on the Marauder Bearmen. That damn Ettin, that passive healing, I mean, he's really been able to come back. Not that he's done an obscene amount of damage, but, you know, if that were a giant, it would have been dead. Ettin healing, really, really good. Now, Forsaken are good against Berserkers, but it goes both ways. But Forsaken do have armor that counters a lot of what Berserkers do, and the Toe Dragon is, of course, great against infantry, as you guys saw. He's been a solid beast this game, but very vulnerable to the missiles. Going to be eating a ton of firepower from Norscan Javelins. In response to this, I send in the Angels of Decay, pure desperation, but they've done good. They're at about 1,500 value, pulling back the Toe Dragon here, and now Tamarcon is going to be duking it out with the Ettin. I am triple captain in a very, very dire situation. This is the last stand of Nurgle here, as I think we've taken a little bit too much damage here. But old Tammy going to be going fisticuffs here with the Cursed Ettin, calling in his Toe Dragon friend. The Ettin sitting at 3,000 HP right here, and when he does get his healing, he loses a little bit of melee defense, but he also gets more damage, which is quite nice for him. Forsaken charging in, and as well as the Pestigors to try and reclaim the objective. Forsaken would probably be a more ideal choice. Here, I mean, the Plague Bearer is still really good, but man, the Marauders bullied the hell out of my infantry this game. And you know, me losing the fight, like so many one-on-one fights with the Plague Bearers against Berserkers, there was like 4 separate fights we lost. Of course, some of them were influenced by magic and other things. We just, couldn't really recover from losing so many individual fights across the map, which is where Nurgle should have the advantage, is in the infantry fights. But the Berserker tech was really, really good. So the Chaos Warrior would have obviously defeated the Berserker pretty decisively. All right, Tamarcon getting the Ettin low, and here my Chaos Sorcerer is hunting down Sail the Faithless, and he is on a Rot Beast, but he's about to get surrounded by Kurgan Horsemen with Great Opens, which I love that. So the Kurgan Horsemen get in, and the Chaos Sorcerer gets beaten down. Sail the Faithless, one last vindictive spell from that Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle, and Sail the Faithless is going to be sent back to the pits, so he of little faith. There he goes. Nurgle claims him for the Great Beyond. Tamarcon's still fighting it out here, but the Ettin able to get away, and the Toe Dragon, unfortunately, did get wrecked there as the Forsaken continue ripping and tearing. Nurglings and Marauders coming in. But ladies and gentlemen, it's simply not going to be enough as the forces of Nurgle have been pushed back. I think that's going to be it. We do get Tamarcon coming over to battle the big man one last time. Tears of Nurgle and Fecundity activated on Tamarcon, who's been doing pretty good this game. About 1,000 value, but he was getting hammered pretty hard early. But, you know, on foot, Tamarcon's not too expensive. He's about 1,500 or something. So I do think Tamarcon's actually quite good in the Norsca matchup because of the fact that he can fight all the big stuff. Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle and also going wider is a very viable strategy. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to approach this matchup. Honestly, I feel like even after the changes, obviously my build was a little bit suboptimal. I think my infantry core lost me the game pretty hard. But in general, like Norsca versus Nurgle isn't too bad for Nurgle. I think after the update, maybe before the update, I would say it was like a 50-50-ish matchup, but I think Norsca is going to be a little bit more favored now because of Ettin's. But that's not to say that Nurgle can't win it. I think maybe like 55-45 now. It's really doable for sure. I think just going with the armored infantry to really win you need to win the infantry fight, which then allows you to put your efforts on taking down the monsters instead of trying to address the infantry fight with my Chaos Knights and things like that, right? That was a huge amount of resources I had to throw back here instead of bringing it to help fight in the mainline fight over there, which then I got folded on Objective 3 when my Plague Bearers got wrecked. etc., etc. Tamarcon taken down. GG, well played. The strong hand and the trouser snake able to close out the fight there. Fun game. Loved it. We got to see a lot of the new stuff being very good. The Ettin was awesome. The Dreadmaw probably did okay towards the end of the game. Sale kind of got bullied, but he had good magic that game. Tamarcon 1200, Toe Dragon 1600, not bad, but the Plague Bears got obliterated. That was really it. Berserkers 800, 700, 1100. All his Berserkers like accrued pretty good value, and mine did not. His Javelin play was also brilliant. 2700 on one of those. And also the Kurgan Horsemen. Good utility out of them, right? Going after the Chaos Knight, sniping my character. I loved it. So yeah, Angels of Decay are really good here. Yeah, the Chaos Knights did okay-ish. I think maybe the Sword and Board variant might be a little bit safer. Just leave them in sustained combat and not worry about getting them charged as much. The Lances are of course good though too. They're both viable. Forsaken did all right coming in the end, but I was already so behind there. So let's go ahead and go to the drawing board, and we can do a little bit of build crafting here, which I think is very, very fun. So I honestly don't think that matchup felt too bad. He just played really well, had a nice build, and it really, really gave my build business. So we're going to go back here. Oh, we have some custom settings on here. So let's go to default funds. All right. So I think Tamarcon is quite good, but I don't know if he can handle that many big monsters. So probably just going for a Sorcerer Lord with the... You could either go Stream of Corruption and Rancid. Rancid is really nice. I love it, especially if they're going Sail. If Sail becomes meta, sniping him is very easy. Like this Nurgle Lord could take down Sail like on a Rot Beast very easily. So I think we do that route. So the Plague Bearers. I think what we do is we go for a couple warriors, and then we can do the Exalted Plague Bearers with the Unholy Hand Grenades. So that'll be pretty good against the monsters. And then from here, we could get Horsemen of our own. Norscan Horsemen usually do outtrade you, but you probably need a little something something. You could also go with like an SE type character, like a Kha'Zix or one of those bad boys. But I think using the Unholy Hand Grenades in guard mode, you're going to want Angels of Decay here, and then you could get the Noxbringer there. Something like that feels pretty good. A Noxbringer to counter the Horseman, also be a good enough fighter to kind of hang, but with is the Ettin just going to go bananas on us? I think we do need Marauder Horsemen, and then for reinforcements, I think the Forsaken are probably one of your best bet for a reinforcing unit because of how quickly they get to the battlefield. Furies, I think 2 Furies in this matchup feel good. 2 Horsemen, and what about Rot Knights? I don't know how well Rot Knights would do. I mean, they're good against a lot of the stuff, but yeah, you need to win the infantry fight first and foremost. I think the 2 Exalted Plague Bears will be very helpful. Noxbringer, did he even... Yeah, Noxbringer is essential, actually, because that'll shut the Javelins down. If you just bombard the Javelins and drain their ammo before the important fights, you're cooking, right? So that feels really good. A little bit of mass. I think a Bile Troll would be a nice addition. And cut 1 Forsaken, get a Sword and Board Chaos Knight. Rot Knights are something to consider in this matchup. I mean, the Chaos Knights do well enough against Skin Wolves. The Rot Knights would be best against like Famir and Trolls, but I think we're okay in that department. Other anti-large tools. The Toad Dragon, I think, is just really risky to the Norscan SEs. Like the Worms are going to be really brutal against it. Not the Worms, excuse me. The Ettins will be brutal against it. Their Javelins, their Horsemen. They just have so many things to drag down old Toady. Toady is okay in a couple matchups, but I think here maybe a bit risky. You could arguably cut the Noxbringer and maybe find a way to get a Toad Dragon in there, and then call in the Noxbringer in reserve if you want to have that like really anti-infantry centric battle line. So that's actually probably viable enough. You just do like Toad Dragon, then get Noxbringer in reserve instead. So you would cut this, and Noxbringer would be like your first call in. You would just save up, get that Noxbringer out, or you just inverse it and you get the Toad Dragon there, you get Noxbringer here, and we would need to probably cheapen up our infantry core a little bit, get like a Marauder or something. But like something like this could work if you really are set on using the Toad Dragon. But anyways, guys, GG well played. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. Great game to my opponent, and that is going to be it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen.